Hi guys, and welcome to Scripture Slam, where I discuss a Bible verse in 4 minutes. So the verse that we're going to be looking at today is from Isaiah 1:18, which says, "Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be white as snow. Though they are red as crimson, they shall be like wool." Before we get stuck in, I think it's really important to talk a little bit more about the book of Isaiah. Now, the book of Isaiah contained the prophecies of the prophet Isaiah, funnily enough. But it also foretells the destruction of the ancient biblical city of Tyre. Now, Tyre was renowned for its sin and its pride, and Isaiah goes on to talk about its destruction, its rising again, and its then later conversion to God. Now, this is really important, so just keep that in mind before we go and talk about all the other cool biblical stuff. I'm quickly going to go over what the verse says before we get stuck in. Now it says, "Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be white as snow. Though they are red as crimson, they shall be like wool." Now, there's something so beautiful and interesting in the verse's use of colour symbolism. So sin is compared to the colours scarlet, red and crimson. Now, it's worth noting that the people in Tyre that Isaiah was preaching to often wore red to signify their nobility. Now, the actual dye, scarlet and red, is notoriously difficult to bleach, and it's one of the most lasting of colours. But sin is compared to that rich concentration of colour like crimson and scarlet, suggests that the sin in all of us was so deeply rooted it has almost died into the fabric of our hearts. Now, there's a juxtaposition with this sort of red imagery. There's almost like an interjection of like the light sort of thing in the words like wool, white and snow. And I think there's something beautiful about this. I think it's the sort of like colour of purification. It's the colour of cleanliness. And I think what Isaiah is trying to get across is the fact that even though our sin is so deeply rooted and so concentrated, the power of God's love can purify even the most deeply rooted, concentrated sin there is. I'm not done yet. There is another layer of meaning. I don't know whether you notice, but the colours like scarlet, red and crimson to our eyes may signify blood. And isn't there a parallel to the fact that the reason why we are pure now is because of Christ's crucifixion and resurrection and the blood he spilled? But I also think there's another parallel with the use of the words like wool and white. You know how Christ is compared to that of a lamb, and the fact that the lamb was sacrificed to spill his red blood to make us pure like him. And I think there's something beautiful in Isaiah's prophecy here. The fact that every sin that we do now is going to be taken up by Jesus on his cross, in his sacrifice, so we can be made pure like him, pure as snow, pure as his wool. And there's a promise in this. There's a hope for mankind. Even though sin is sin and we cannot be excused of what we keep on doing, there is a forgiveness that surpasses all of that. Now, I'm not saying that because we know we're going to be forgiven, we can just keep on sinning. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the fact that there is a God that has the grace and mercy to forgive, and it all points down to the cross and his victory, and the fact that no sin is too hard to be forgiven. You know how, like we mentioned about the city of Tyre and its sinful prideness and all of that. I think there's something really prophetic on more levels than one that Isaiah was trying to get at. The fact that Tyre is almost a metaphor for our world now and the way we sin and how we're prideful in the fact that we're doing things that are wrong. But there's hope there. The fact that Tyre falls, but it rises again and it comes back to God. That's amazing. Isn't that a hope for all of us? And it just parallels against all these metaphors and colour symbolisms that I've been talking about before. Now, that's the end of my message. It got pretty intense there. I hope you guys have a lovely day. God bless. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you.